This world were mine. Hi Kingdom, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Dishon King. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on my post notifications so you don't miss out on any videos the second that they drop. So in this video, we're going to be doing a little mini life update while I do my nighttime skincare routine and pretty much fill y'all in on everything that's been going on with me. If you've been subscribed to this channel, then you'd know the last long form video that I posted that wasn't a short was last April. That's unacceptable. So much has happened in my life, so many positive things and some really big challenges that I want to kind of spill my guts and be transparent about. I have a lot of explaining to do. I didn't really prep y'all on like letting y'all know that I wasn't gonna post. It's been about like 9, almost 10 months. That's scary to even say out loud. First off, let me go ahead and wet my face. We're gonna do my nighttime skincare routine, my updated nighttime skincare routine. Pretty much my favorite cleanser of all time. This is the Youth to the People Green Tea Spinach Vitamin Superfood Cleanser. When I tell you I use this every single day, like twice a day, I do wanna get their new lactic acid. It's like orange. I wanna get that new cleanser so I can use it for the nighttime. Got a fresh new bottle. They just sent it to me in PR. It's like they just know when I need a refill. Like I haven't had to buy this stuff out of pocket in forever. Every time I run out, they send me like a fresh one, and it really does last a long time. Let's talk about my 2024. The last that you guys saw me in a vlog was April. Literally April of last year. So like it's been like almost damn near 10 months. Like this is ridiculous. Longest I've ever not posted. I have been active when it comes to short form content. So if you've been following me on TikTok, which I hope by now you have, if not, my TikTok is King Dishon. Please go ahead and keep up with me there. Considering that it was gone, it ain't gone no more. Like what's going on with TikTok? But I've been posting short form content on TikTok and repurposing it on Instagram, and I've also been posting on YouTube Shorts. So I've been posting, just not like long form videos like this. So that is going to change. We're back to regular scheduled programming. I've gotten my shit together. So 2024 was a very transformative year for me. I feel like I've matured into this person that like, it kind of terrifies me. Like I look at myself in the mirror and I'm just like, who am I? You know? I feel like a lot of the things that I used to prioritize, I'm not prioritizing anymore, specifically with dating. So we can touch on the dating aspect of my life first. Y'all know I don't really talk about my dating life like that. If you've been following me for a while, I'm not one to really like keep y'all in the know about like who I'm dating, who I'm talking to. I'm not much of a dater, if I'm being honest with you. Like I am primarily like a very single person. I'm single still. There was a point in which I was, you know, kind of having conversations. I wouldn't call it talking. I guess you could call it talking. Honestly, they just didn't work out. Like I just didn't completely, I guess, vibe with them. I don't know. One person ghosted me. Who is at my door? They just didn't end up working out. Like one person ghosted me, another person, I kind of ghosted them, not gonna lie, and I didn't mean to, and then I realized, I was like, you know what? I really want to value the time that I have right now being single. Being alone, being single, not being tied to anyone, not having any obligations to anybody. Now is my time to be selfish, because when I do get in a relationship, I'm not gonna have that same privilege. You know, there's always gonna be that other person that I have to take into consideration, and rightfully so. When that time comes, I want to be ready for that. But for right now, you know, like I'm not pressed to be around anybody. When I do get into that point in my life where I am gonna have a relationship, I know I'm gonna be 200% devoted to that person. Like, you know, my love languages are acts of service and gift giving and things like that. You know, I like being around my person. That certain love has never been reciprocated to me. Someone that I actually have romantic feelings for, I've yet to experience that ever in my life. I've never been in a serious relationship before. That's not something that I want to rush. That's not a process that I want to force. So whenever that time comes, it's just gonna naturally happen. You know, I'm just gonna follow God's path. Last year, I was talking to this guy for like a good 2-3 weeks. These little talking stints don't last long, if I'm being honest with you. They don't last long. I don't know if maybe it's the Virgo, but like, I gets to the point, okay? We ain't finna let this drag on for too long. It is what it is, or it is what it ain't. Like, I was talking to this guy for like a good maybe like 3 weeks tops. He lives in like a US territory. He was flying back and forth pretty much like every weekend, but we never had a chance to really meet in person. And I also am someone that requires a lot of initiative from the person I'm talking to. Like, do you want to see me or not? And if you do want to see me, time and place, and I'll be there. You get what I'm saying? Like, I do not want to plan anything. The worst thing that you could possibly do is let a Virgo plan the arrangements. Don't do it. If we're gonna plan it, it has to go our way, 100%. If you deviate just a little bit, you're gonna see a very nasty side of us. And then everybody's gonna be upset. I don't wanna be involved in the plans. I don't wanna plan anything. I know how I am. And there was no initiative. I don't think I would mind a little long distance thing, but in actuality, I just don't think that that's practical. So I went ahead and I washed the cleanser off, and the next thing that I want to use, because my skin really needs it right now, I feel like my pores have been a little bit clogged. I haven't been doing enough deep cleansing treatments, and usually on the weekends I like to do more of like my in-depth skincare routine. So I'm going to be using this Origins Clear Improvement Mask right here. Not your typical charcoal mask, because it does have 1% salicylic acid in it, and salicylic acid is pretty much that ingredient that's going to help fight and reduce the sebum levels for your breakouts. Anything that you have trapped underneath your skin, any pus that you have, is going to make your skin pretty much purge and get all that stuff out. This also has like charcoal powder and caffeine. Caffeine helps, especially if you have like puffy under eyes, which I do. We'll get into that reason why. So transitioning the conversation to a more spiritual topic, I feel like I've gotten closer to God the most I ever have within this past year. A lot of serious things in my life have happened to where I've had to rely on God heavily. I don't know if that's just like when you start to mature more in your 20s and you just start to look at your life at a more grand scale, and you look at like things that you've done in your early 20s and you're just like, if only I knew then what I know now, you know? Personally speaking, I have had like some serious health issues, especially towards the end of 2024 and even when 2025 started. Back in November, I got COVID for like the second time. It was worse than my first time. The first time I actually had to sit in the hospital for like 3 days. The second time I didn't, but it just felt horrible. Like I was extremely dehydrated. I couldn't move my fingers. I couldn't move my body. It was scary. And it happened right after I went to a Sixers game. I was actually vlogging, and I'm going back and forth on whether I want to release that footage, because probably not, but honestly speaking, I'm ready to just kind of start fresh when it comes to my vlogging content, because I want that stuff to be more in real time. I do notice the common denominator when it comes to me and getting sick, I've noticed, is hookah. I feel like it's the hookah. And so New Year's resolution, no more hookah. No more hookah 2025. I've noticed the last couple of times that I've tried to smoke, like I just can't inhale the same. I hope there's no permanent damage to my lungs, and if there were, then the times that I've gone to the hospital, they would have told me. I'm just gonna go ahead and stop now before it becomes a long-term issue when I'm older. No more hookah for me. But I have noticed that, you know, when I have gotten seriously sick, it's happened with me going out and maybe not taking the most care of myself. You know, I'm working on drinking more water, like, you know, really taking care of my body. Also, I'm gonna start going back to the gym. Like when I used to live beachside, the gym was like right behind my house, so I would just go like pretty much every day. Since moving to Orlando, I have not been working out and taking care of my body the way that I should. I was just sick again. I had to go to the hospital. This recent time, y'all, 3 weeks ago, I had to call the ambulance to my house because there was no one around that could take me to the hospital, because I literally couldn't walk myself down the stairs to even like get to the hospital, and it was late and my dad was in Georgia. I had like no help, so I had to call the ambulance, and that was so embarrassing, especially when you live in like apartment buildings. Calling the ambulance is like so dramatic, and people are looking at you and be like, oh my gosh, like who is this person getting into the ambulance? First of all, I didn't necessarily appreciate the EMTs that came to my house. They just seemed pretty rushed and kind of dismissive. One of the guys that was trying to hook me up to an IV, and he was trying to use my right arm, and he just couldn't get my vein to like take the needle, and it hurt really bad. He took the needle out and he never put a band-aid or like a gauze on it, so I was just like bleeding, and I was like, can I get a band-aid? And he was like, oh, you know, don't worry about it, you'll get one. And I was just like, huh, like what? The other thing that was really odd and actually kind of annoying And I'm just going to be so transparent with y'all. I feel like this is a topic that I've talked about before. When the EMTs came to my house and they were trying to, you know, ask me questions about, you know, the basic things like what's your name and my identity and stuff, they were saying things to me like, your gender says male, is that right? I just looked at them like, yeah. I don't see no humps. My hump. I don't see none of that. What are you talking about? You can clearly see. Please, don't piss me off. And then it happened again. It was a white male nurse that came in to do a chest x-ray. Before he left out, he was like, okay, I just want to be straightforward about this, but they have you in here as male. Is that correct? And I just looked at him again. Yes. He was like, oh, okay. I just wanted to be sure, you know, I want to be respectful of everyone, you know, it gets hard every day, you know, with what we do and blah, blah. Get out my room. I get double takes sometimes. And again, those of you that have met me in person, I'm not like a feminine presenting person. Like I don't wear, and this is no shade to any of you that do this, you know, there's no problem with it, but I don't wear like women clothing. Like I don't wear feminine presenting things. Like I don't present myself in that way. I don't wear dresses. I don't wear wigs. I don't wear heels, none of that. Like I wear male clothing. I'm male presenting. I don't know. And I asked my nurse, I'm like, do I give trans? Like, you know, generally asking. And she was like, no, you don't. And she was just like, honestly, take it as a compliment because you have very like high fashion, like editorial, androgynous features and people like that, you know, that's in. And I was like, you know, that's true. And I told her, you know, I used to model, you know, I used to be signed to an agency and everything. I used to, you know, I've been very far removed from the entertainment industry. Like I haven't been to any castings or anything like that. I have thought about, you know, giving acting another try. It's just that like my life with balancing a 9-to-5 and doing content and things like that, like I don't see where I could do that and be efficient in both areas. I guess I'll just never know until I actually try, but I've been trying to find myself when it comes to like my talents and like what I actually want to do with the rest of my life. Like I do feel like I'm kind of like at a standstill. You need to follow the next steps. Like I really do think that there's some huge opportunities for me this year. I just need to get over my fear and just let God guide me. Which is also the reason why I'm hopping back on this camera, because let's be real, like YouTube is the gateway to get me to wherever I want to go, you know? I don't know like how well this video is going to do. I'm not really pressed about numbers. Like I'm just not pressed about it. You know, I just want to say that I'm extremely intentional with everything that I do. I don't expect a return for everything. I feel good just trying. And I really do mean well when it comes to anything that I put out, whether it's a video, whatever it is. I've really been challenging myself to find happiness in the process. I can be honest, I can be a lot more consistent. I can be a lot more visible. And that's something that I'm working on. I'm not gonna get anywhere if I don't try my hardest. And I haven't been trying my hardest, but I'm gonna let the mask sit for a little bit. I know that that was a long-winded rant and it just kind of went a little bit all over the place. For the first time ever in my life, I really don't know where my life is going from this point on, so I'm just gonna go with it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let the mask sit for a little bit, and now I'm gonna come back and wash it off. If this world were mine. So we're gonna go ahead and continue with our nighttime skincare routine. I'm gonna be using the cactus water from Freck. I was actually put onto this by my friend Kayla. This is actually one of my favorite toners that I like to use at night. It has lactic acid. Lactic acid is like a chemical exfoliant that helps with cell turnover. It helps to regenerate new skin cells. And I really like the aesthetic of the bottle. I feel like my camera doesn't do it as much justice. So I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but I did want to talk about like some of my spiritual goals for 2025. I am not checking my phone in the morning. Like I'm not sitting there scrolling. Well, the first thing I do when I wake up, I pray, because I wake up really early now. I wake up at like 6. And then I also have like my daily devotional that I read, biblical passage that I read every day, and I'll post it on my story if you guys follow me on Instagram. I like having slow mornings to myself where I can just kind of like really center myself spiritually. One thing that I do want to work on though, I want to work on being consistent when it comes to my journaling. I journal like on my app on my phone. I find that to be easier because I'm already on my phone. I'm just not a paper to pen type of person. If you're not new to my channel, then y'all know that I grew up Jehovah's Witness. I was born into it. So when I was 17, I decided that I did not want to continue with it. I didn't want to dedicate myself. I didn't want to follow the path that my mom, because my mom's Jehovah's Witness, she wanted me to follow that, and I just didn't agree for various reasons. And it resulted in me deciding to leave my mom's house to go live with my dad. Yeah, I was making some very big decisions at a very young age. My mom didn't let me have a phone my entire time in school. Like, I'm 16 years old in high school with no cell phone. When I tell you how much of an inconvenience that was, especially like, don't let me miss the bus. Don't let me not have money for lunch. Like, what am I gonna do? I'm gonna borrow my friend's phone and like text my mom. It was unstable. Like, and to me, that's just simply not safe, especially in this country. Me and my mom are great now. Like, she's amazing. But we did not see eye to eye when I was 16, 17. We actually didn't see eye to eye for years. It was a very hot and cold relationship, and I kind of always felt like I was dueling with her. Looking back, me and my mom just wanted two different things for my life. We were never going to agree on anything. I wasn't allowed to play sports in high school up until when I lived with my dad to graduate for my senior year. I wasn't allowed to do anything. I wasn't allowed to go over my friends' houses. Like, if I had friends from school, I wasn't allowed to be close with them because they weren't Jehovah's Witnesses. Needless to say, I was extremely sheltered. I don't want to ramble about that, but you know, that was a lot for me to unpack at a young age, and I feel like to this day I'm still unpacking it. Religious trauma, especially when it affects the relationship that you have with like a parent, it can be a lot to undo. I understand why she raised me that way. I understand why she was so strict, because she was just trying to follow the biblical guidelines that she knew. A lot of that was not biblical. The Bible don't say thou shalt not have a cell phone. Let's be so for real, come on. My mom was more so strict with me because my older sister would get in a lot of trouble in high school. So I think when I got to the same age, my mom was like, hell no, like I'm not going for that. Especially because my mom was a single mom during that time. You know, it was extra hard on her. My parents' divorce really did affect me a lot. I just felt very alone and I didn't have an outlet. Actually, I take that back. My outlet was social media, but my mom also really didn't want me having social media. Like, I had an Instagram, then when she found out I had an Instagram, she made me delete it. Tumblr was the only thing that she let me have, and I think it was just because all of it was just pictures. Tumblr was also kind of like niche at that time. Like, people weren't talking about Tumblr as much as they were talking about Instagram and Snapchat. And then I had a Twitter, and then I got in so much trouble with my Twitter. The school got involved with my Twitter because I ain't gonna lie, I was wilding. I was tweeting some wild stuff. I had said some stuff that was low-key kind of like depressing, and then I didn't go to school the next day, and people thought that something happened to me. They called my house, and I answered the phone. I was like, yeah, hello. They're like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, like, yeah, I'm okay. Should I not be? Like, and then they called my mom, and my mom was so mad. Speaking of high school, when I went to the grocery store the other day, I was at Trader Joe's. I actually ran into someone that we weren't friends. We were more so like acquaintances in passing. We like knew the same people. And I think we were in yearbook together, if I'm not mistaken. She said something to me that actually really resonated with me. She was like, are you happy? And I was like, oh. I said, yeah, you know, I am. You know, I'm doing pretty well for myself. I have my own place. I take care of myself. I ain't struggling. You know, I'm doing okay. Your happiness is not based off of the things that you have. Your happiness is not based on whether you're in a relationship or not. Your happiness is based on how you perceive yourself. I had this whole crisis when she asked me that. Like, in the middle of Trader Joe's, I stood there like, I don't know about y'all, but I do base my happiness on how consistent I am with my well-being. In order for me to be at my happiest, I want to make sure that I'm having progress in my life daily. I don't want to feel stagnant. I don't want to feel stuck. You know, that's something that I've been working on. That's why I have all these goals for myself. I want to work on my health, my fitness, my spirit, my heart. I want to work on that stuff on my own, which is why I'm kind of like not pressed on dating or anything like that. Like, this is a time for me to really work on myself and be happy in my solitude. I just thought that was an interesting question that someone that I haven't seen for years would ask me. Now is time for my favorite part, or my second favorite, because toner is my favorite. My second favorite part of my skincare routine is layering on on the serums. And I don't use the same serums every day. I actually might film like a weekly skincare routine video again where I show you guys like the different products that I use every day throughout the week. But tonight I'm going to be using the Naturium Vitamin C Complex Serum. Vitamin C really helps to brighten your skin's complexion. I do have a couple of like dark spots. I ain't gonna lie, some of the discoloration is coming from like under my jaw because I've been shaving a lot under my jaw. I want to actually get like laser hair removal in that area because I can't grow a full beard, nor do I want to actually, so I'm not too pressed about that, but this need to get lasered off. I will wear like my goatee, like my chin here, and I'll grow out my mustache, but that's just about it. I don't really do much. The next thing that I'm gonna use is this 10% niacinamide booster from Paula's Choice. I'm just gonna go in with a couple of drops of that here. Niacinamide helps with the look of reducing your pores, and it also helps with your complexion as well. I cannot wait to finish my skincare routine, brush my teeth, and go to bed. I'm so tired. Part of the reason why I was away from YouTube is the fact that work has been so consuming in my life, like an unhealthy level of consumption. Those of you that don't know, I do work from home. I don't really talk about like what I do exactly for work, but I will say what I do for work does demand a lot of my time and attention. I am in like a leadership role where I am responsible for people's whereabouts. Like I started to dream about work. Like it really started to consume me. My eyes have also been like a little bit blurry lately here and there with my vision because I've been staring at these screens and I don't want to mess up my vision. So the next product we're going to use is the Paula's Choice Pro Collagen Multi-Peptide Booster. So peptide helps build stronger moisture barriers onto your skin. Collagen really helps with building your skin's elasticity. So, you know, make sure that you don't get wrinkles and things like that. When you're 25, your body stops producing the levels of collagen like it should on its own. You have to invest in products like this. This be making me feel like a glazed donut. I be wondering like, what am I gonna look like when I'm 50? I don't even know if the camera does it justice, but like you can see, look at that glow on my skin. The next product I'm gonna go in with is the Naturium Vitamin C Super Eye Cream Plus. It also has 2% or 0.02% retinol and hyaluronic acid. Is pretty much like a preventative anti-aging treatment. If you are like a mature person watching this is definitely something that you want to start incorporating into your routine daily. You really don't need much because it's going under your eyes. I'll use like a pea-size amount of the cream, and then I like to rub it on my other hand. It's very creamy. Like when I say you don't even need much, and even a pea size can be a little bit too much. And then what we're gonna use for moisturizer, we're gonna use the multi-peptide moisturizer from Naturium. This has been like my everyday nighttime moisturizer. I was alternating between this and the Plant Ceramide Rich Moisture Cream from Naturium, but this particular moisturizer is very thick in consistency, so I was only using this when it was like 40 degrees outside. But I haven't been reaching for this lately because the weather has been warming up a little bit, and I like to use like a couple pumps of this, about like 2 to 3. Side note, I've been thinking about getting another tattoo. My dad and I are supposed to get matching tattoos. I haven't decided on like what I want. I do want something small on like my hand, like right here, but he don't want a hand tattoo, but I'm still trying to convince him to do it. But I also want something behind my neck, but he has something behind his neck already, so whatever I get behind my neck is just gonna be for myself. All right, so very last product we're gonna use is the Honeydew Lip Mask from Then I Met You. They are a Korean skincare brand, and I believe they're in Sephora. Y'all, when I say that this got my lips moisturized all day, I love using this at night too, so that when I wake up in the morning, my lips don't feel dry, especially because I sleep with my fan on. So before we end the video, I do really just want to say again, I really appreciate all of you that are still here, those of you that are still invested in my journey, those of you that still watch my videos. And I don't mean to sound melodramatic, but a lot of the times, and this contributed to the reason why I even took this long of a break with long form content, sometimes I really be feeling like, you know, nobody gives a fuck. And I know that that's crazy because I know people do care. Actually, I ended up running into like a subscriber whoever at the grocery store. I'd be running to everybody at the grocery store. I came home and I was just like, wow. Things like that really reminded me of who I am, because I ain't gonna lie, when you start to fall out of your routine, when you start to get depressed, when you have moments in your life that take you off your course, you can start to forget who you are. And I feel like that's happened to me a lot of times, especially when you're surrounding yourself around the wrong people, you know, the wrong people that don't encourage you towards your goals and your dreams. You can start to forget who you are, and the people around you can start to forget too if they don't actually care about you, if they're not checking in on your well-being. I feel like I was stuck in a cycle of unproductive behaviors. I honestly think it was when I went to the hospital a couple weeks ago. That was like my wake-up call. I need to really get myself together. By this time next year, I want to be able to look at myself and be like, wow, I came so far. But again, I really just want to say thank you to y'all that continue to support me, that continue to reach out and, you know, offer support. I actually almost sold this camera because I wasn't using it, and I was like, Dishon, you're losing your mind. That should tell you like where my head was at. Like, I damn near almost gave up on YouTube. Depression will have you wanting to do the stupidest shit, I swear to God. But yeah, that concludes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all my other platforms at King Dishon. I also will be posting short form content as always. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you later.